afternoon. How y'all doing today? Great. Hey, I never thought I'd be here. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and what I'm asking you to do today. My name is Thad Hamilton. I was born and raised on a farm in Arkansas. I graduated from the University of Arkansas in Pine Bluff with a degree in agriculture. I was commissioned as a second lieutenant, already commissioned to the Army. I went to New Mexico. I worked with the United States Department of Agriculture. 10 years with the Department of Agriculture. At the same time, I had a dual career. I'm military. I love the military. I served 3 years of active duty, a year of Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and I retired as a lieutenant colonel. I taught Commander General Staff College for 10 years, teaching senior military officers how to be officers, how to be leaders, and how to protect this country. I've retired from the United States Department of Agriculture after 36 years, 10 in New Mexico and 26 in Florida. I've been working on the state, the local, and the national staff. I've been in agriculture all my life. That's all I know is military and agriculture. Now, what I'm doing here today is asking you to let me represent you in the House, in the cabinet, not the House, but in the cabinet. Because right now, agriculture in Florida, agriculture in this country is underrated. We must bring the urban, the agriculture, and the environment together. In the state of Florida, we have 18 million people. They sit down, they have a great meal, they're happy, but a lot of those people are misled. They blame agriculture for our non-point source pollution problem, which is the #1 pollution problem in the country, in the state, in every city and county in this state. And very few people know about it. I have worked with the Department of Agriculture, United States Department of Agriculture, best management practices. We don't need to develop any more best management practices. We don't need to waste some money on developing those practices. Over the last 10 years, we've wasted a whole lot of money going through processes. We have the practices developed. You know it, because the Natural Resource Conservation Service, the employees, have been out there working with you, retaining the runoff on your farm, setting up best management practices, fertilizer and chemical mixing stations, fencing out the areas where the livestock go through to prevent and keep pollution on the farm and get it under control. But we still got 18 million people that have no idea that there are 18 million polluters that are polluting our environment, polluting the ocean, the urban, and the aquifer, and they're blaming you. We have to stop fighting. Who were the first environmentalists in this state and this nation, other than Native Americans? Leave the Native Americans out of this. You were. You're the backbone of this country. You are #1 national defense, not the military. Don't let nobody tell you any different. You produce more food than the top 5 producing countries in the world together. You produce the best and the highest quality food in this world. You feed the world, but our neighbors don't understand it. Our environmentalists don't understand it. So we must bring you together with the environment, the 18 million people here in this state. Together we can preserve and protect our natural resources. We can save our farms for our future generations. We must be together. We have to stop doing what we have done in the past. If we stay on the same old, that old saying is, if you keep doing the same old thing, you think you want something different. Now it's time to unite, to pull together, and let's think about the citizens of the state. We don't need to step on anybody's rights. We need to protect the farm. We need to have a commission of agriculture, other than the candidates need to be here on this stage talking to you and to all 18 million people. We need to educate. And then our education budget and our school system need to come from 50 to the top. We need to change our priorities. It is time to reform the state of Florida. We must make education and conservation our #1 industry. In 1982, we partnered with Dr. John DeGrove. Some of you may know Dr. John DeGrove. He's an icon in conservation. We developed what we call the Mountain for Broward County. Broward County used to be the tomato capital of the world. Broward County used to have 128,000 acres of agricultural lands. So in 1982, we did what we call a transfer development rights study that proved we could have saved that land in Broward County. We could have had a halfway balance between the urban agriculture and the environment. Our people and our citizens were ready. Our elected and hired people, the officials, were not. That's why we are the government. Let's get one thing straight. I don't understand about big and little government. I don't. We are the government. You are the government. For the people, by the people. We don't hold responsible the individuals that we elect and hire to represent us. It's our fault. It ain't no such thing as a big or little government, because that's us. But we have failed out ourselves by electing and hiring the wrong people to represent us. If they can't get along together for us, all of them need to go. So if we have to clean house, they don't represent us, then they need to go. We need people that's going to represent us. I'm a countywide elected official in Broward County. I challenge every elected official in the state to accept the same salary that I accept as the chair of the Broward Soil and Water Conservation District. Every elected official should be there and accept the salary I accept. Challenge all of them to do that. I don't accept the salary. Don't get a salary. It costs me to do my elected job. I'm there because I want to be. And you know, the Broward citizens in Broward County, watershed. The watershed approach, people don't understand that. They say, well, you want to take over, you want to form more government, you want to raise taxes. That's not what a watershed is. A watershed is bringing everybody together to work cohesively to address the problems and not the symptoms. A watershed is an area where when it rains, everything in that area is affected. If it's pollution on the East Coast in Florida, it affects the people on the West Coast. What happens in North Florida affects South Florida. The whole state is a watershed, a coastal watershed. We must unite, we must put our differences aside, and we must address Florida so we will have a sustainable Florida. We can preserve and protect our resources. We can put education and conservation up front. But one thing I suggest, if you want to continue on the road we're on, you and your counties will look like my county, Broward County. Broward County had the opportunity to head off being overpopulated and overdeveloped and have a balance. I stood on the oath in front of the county commissioners in 1994. I asked them to put a moratorium on development of Southwest Broward. They asked me who wrote my paycheck, or did I have my checkbook with me. I'm on the oath, providing technical assistance how we balance our Broward County. So they approved the developments, they did everything else. Finally in 2000, they passed the $400 million bond issue that we asked them to do in 1980. They passed that bond issue. I was the first chair of that advisory council. $400 million. We were lucky if we get 2,000 acres. We could have preserved over 30,000 acres, had halfway balance, and we wouldn't worry about teaching all our kids that if you go to where the food comes from, they should know. But we must take our state and our nation back, and our elected and hired officials must answer to us. If they don't represent you and they don't represent the citizens, then we don't need them in Tallahassee, we don't need them in Washington, and we don't need them in our counties. My name is Thaddeus Hamilton. I'm asking you to let me represent you on the cabinet, because on the cabinet, I will personally bring agriculture to the table. No longer going down, agriculture needs to go up. We're the #1 national defense. I'm not going to represent anybody but the citizens of this state. We'll represent you, and what you see is what you get. Thank you.